All right. Okay. So welcome everybody. I can't believe it. We are halfway through the burn. I don't know if it feels like it's been that we're halfway through, but it surely doesn't for me. So here is our OTYB mottos for today. There's 2 of them. Take control of your objections and have a higher closing ratio. We're going to be talking about objections, and I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit differently than the majority, and even classes that you might have taken out there where you hear about how to master overcoming objections. And yes, there's some really great techniques and scripts and things that you can use to overcome, but I don't believe in overcoming. I believe in eliminating them altogether. So I'm going to share that with you. It's a powerful way to look at objections. Take control of your mistakes, or your mistakes will take your business down. That's the second OTYB motto in spirit of our topic discussion. We're also going to be talking about mistakes. It seems like appropriate objections and mistakes to put those into 1 week. So it's jammed packed today. All right, so first, my commitment. And I want to say, in a spirit of one-timing, always making adjustments and changing based on feedback, and then taking that feedback and asking questions to find out what others think. So with that, this actually came from Keelan. I was talking to Keelan after last week's OTYB in regards to the experience on the online meetup, and he had made a suggestion in not floating the bullet points out, but actually leaving them. So I made some calls and had some conversations, and in the spirit of one-timing, majority of people will feel the same way. If you're not sure if it's a one-off means when you get constructive feedback or comments or something from someone and you're questioning yourself, well, is this a one-off? Most of the time you don't question it. It's like, oh my gosh, of course, everybody would think that same thing. It's just like an aha moment or a light bulb went on. Sometimes you're not really sure if it's a one-off. If that's the case, then it's very easy to see if it's one-off, or if it's not a one-off, it means majority are going to feel the exact same way, which majority of everything is that way. But if you're not sure, then go ahead and reach out and ask the question. So the bullet points are actually going to stay on the slides instead of removing them. I brought this in because I wanted to use as an example of how I am constantly continuing to one-time. And when you create a habit to one-time, you will constantly be changing as well. All right, I'm here to help you create a habit to one-time your business. I used to think I wasn't smart enough, and I realized that was not the case. To be successful, you don't have to have a high IQ. I don't. You don't have to have graduated from college. I didn't. And you don't have to come from a wealthy family. You all know that was not the case for me. You just have to have great habits. That is it. Great habits will, and yes, to have a high IQ definitely helps. To have graduated from college definitely helps. Coming from a wealthy family, I don't know. Sometimes it can help, and sometimes it actually can be devastating to you. But the habits that you create will override anything else. That's what the 8-week burn is about. All right, so here's how I'm helping you create a habit to one-time your business. First is the one-timing exercise. Stay committed to a one-timing exercise. I do. I'm always making note of questions and requests, objections and mistakes that are coming into my office, so I can find a way to an opportunity to be able to one-time those. Stay committed to your on-time. This is the time that you have blocked on your calendar to be working on your business versus everything else you do is considered working in your business. And of course, with any habit, there are mind shifts. In the spirit of one-timing, there are 3 mind shifts. First, rejoice in the small successes. It is not about the big successes. That's not what you should be rejoicing in. The rejoice comes through all of the small steps that it took to get there. The small successes you have today may not produce the results that you want today. They may not produce the results that you want tomorrow. They may not produce the results that you want next week, next month, and maybe even next year. But guaranteed, those small successes will produce the big results that you want. So in rejoicing the small, it will help the excitement to be ready to actually see the big come into fruition, because people that don't rejoice in small successes, they quit. And that is devastating because you miss out on those big successes. Remember the Chinese bamboo tree. So whenever you feel like, wow, okay, I know the small thing means something, but it doesn't mean that much. I want you to visualize that Chinese bamboo tree. I do it all the time. every time I'm doing something small and thinking, okay, this is great, but does it really matter? Because I do. I take myself right back and visualize my Chinese bamboo tree. And every single time it gets me right back and excited of, yes, this one small decision and effort I'm making right now matters in the biggest way. The second mind shift is to take the hard road. When committing to taking the hard road, you are actually getting yourself to easy street. Remember, again, the hard road represents change. And the last is embracing your failures. Don't fear failing. Fear is worrying about something that has not yet happened. Confidence is believing in something that has not yet happened. True success comes from your failures. I'd like to share a quote. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. All right. Today's One Time Your Business inspiration. Mistakes are a path to your solution. Continue to look for a better path to get the results that you want in your business and in your life. This is actually taking the hard road, but look where the path is leading to. It looks pretty beautiful, doesn't it? This is in spirit a part of our topic discussion today, which is mistakes. All right, our curriculum, opportunity and solution session, we'll open it up as always. Topic introduction, I'll get into objection and mistakes. Then we'll open it up for topic discussion. So please make note of any takeaway or key nuggets, things that you took away from today's topic introduction to inspire and motivate your peers. We'll go into the wrap up and rewire for coursework. Next week's topic introduction, so you're all excited about what's going to happen in week 5. And then, of course, I'll wrap it up with our OTYB motivation, and I'll open it up for off time. I will actually disclose to you, I actually can't stay on for off time. If there's any questions or things that you have after the online meetup, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll get back with you tomorrow. I'm part of a little mastermind group with some really powerful women that inspire and motivate me every time I'm with them. And we've got our dinner tonight, so I have to jet out right after our time here. But I'm available and accessible for you guys. If I haven't said this before, just so that you know, I want to be here to be of a support through you throughout the entire 8 weeks. So anything that you need, anytime during the week, please reach out to me, and I'm here to support you. All right, so opportunity and solution session. Let me come back on full video. So this is an opportunity to share a problem or challenge that you might have dealt with last week, or a success that you had last week. Really a free-for-all, anything that you want to share. So let's go ahead and start with last one in, which was Keelan today. Keelan, go ahead, please. In a minute or less.
Yeah, I had a no experience, and I've realized that your family is a huge part of that. I have a 2-year-old at home, and grandparents that are bidding for time with their granddaughter, and so there's only so much time, and so sometimes even to family I had to say no. So I experienced that this weekend. I just said nope. We're going to spend our time doing some other things, and it is what it is, So you got to say no. That's it.
I love that, Keelan. Well, not necessarily I love it. I'd love it for you never to have to say no to anything, especially regarding London, and she is a gem. I'd love it to open it up to your peers to see if anybody has a word of wisdom, advice, or motivation when it comes to sometimes having to say no to your family, because what you're doing is to provide for your family. Anybody have any words of wisdom for Keelan? Go ahead and raise your hand if you do. Okay, I'll jump in. I want to give you guys always the opportunity to create the masterminding. So Keelan, yes, we've talked about this as well, and it's a challenge that we'll all have. And I've mentioned before that we're all in a different season in our business, and it's a decision that you make, and you can make whatever decision that you want in this season. So I don't believe in the complete balance of life. I don't believe that exists. What I believe is sometimes you're in a higher balance of family or travel, and you're putting less focus on your business, and other times you're grinding in your business, which is taking away from time that you have for your family, because it's working up to the time that you're going to be able to have more family time. And I think we kind of come in and out in different times in our life that happens. So Keelan, hopefully that's a little assistance there as well. But yes, you're definitely grinding it out right now, and as we talk about, your Chinese bamboo tree is growing. And what did you say? How many feet is yours going to grow, and how quick?
100 feet in a week.
There you go, 100 feet in a week, yes. And so you're fertilizing, watering and fertilizing your bamboo tree. Keelan, thank you so much for opening up there. Britta, how about for you? Challenge, problem, or success?
I actually had success this week and dove into my emails and really spent a lot of time going through them. I had around 25,000. I don't delete anything ever. I keep it all from like 10 years ago. So it's very overwhelming for me though. And so I really spent a lot of time not only organizing, but then also just going through some of the emails that I'm repeating over and over and over again and trying to pull those up and finding ways that I can, you know, make a template. So I spent a good amount of time. It's not fun though. I can tell you that is not a fun thing to do, but I definitely feel better about it.
That is awesome, Britta. Thank you so much. And yes, it's taking the hard road. The hard road is when something feels like it's not fun, but you know what the results are going and where that's going to take you. And eventually, if you continue taking the hard road, and this is for all of you, the hard road will actually become your easy street. You'll actually get excited to take the hard road. The hard road, when you create a habit for it, it feels like it's hard, but all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm excited to do this because you know where it's leading you. Yeah, setting up your rules and getting those just to archive, you know they're safe. You can get back to them if you want, Britta. And yeah, the templates are amazing. I can't believe how much a time saver saves me with templates. So Britta, thank you so much. Hannah, how about for you? A problem or a challenge or success that you had last week? And go ahead and come off mute, Hannah. Perfect.
Yep. So this isn't really about emails specifically, but this process has been really helpful because my husband and I, we both predominantly work from home. And so it's really easy to just like go, you know, to the next room and say, hey, you know, blah, 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 you know, what about this and all that. So we've become much more consequent about scheduling our time so that we both have the quiet time at the same time, and you know, establish specific times where we can pop in. And I think that is really helping both of us, just, you know, because it takes so much time to get refocused on what you were doing. And I'm very proud of myself because I've been very, very consistent with my phone message every day. And I found a benefit, which I wasn't expecting. There goes my phone. Sorry about that. I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Time's up, Hannah.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, Hannah, oh, now I got to get my timer shut off. Hannah, thank you so much for sharing that. And yes, one of the biggest time wasters is the littlest things that you may not even think might matter that compound, and all of those little small conversations that we have that we don't need to have when we need to be focused at the task at hand, and that's business. Powerful stuff, Hannah. Thank you so much for sharing that, and congratulations on the voicemail too as well. Thank you. All right, Julie, how about for you?
So for me, email, again, this is big for me too. I think, Britta, you may have beat me in the number of emails that I had, but not by much. So I'm not totally done yet clearing things out, but it's been actually kind of hard for me to let go of the emails, which is kind of interesting. But I've made some folders and kind of gotten that organized a bit. And then I'm trying to delete emails as they come in, you know, like the thanks emails and all that kind of stuff. So, and then one other thing I've been working on, I think I mentioned it last time too, but seller's questionnaire. And I would love to send it out to everybody and have them look through it for me and see if they can think of anything else that I can add. I think it's pretty comprehensive, but yeah.
Perfect, Julie. Thank you so much. So yes, send it out. It'll be a benefit for everybody to see it. And I'm sure that your peers would be more than happy to give you any tips on that. Yeah, continue to visualize the outcome with your email, Julie, and that will keep you going on the direction that you're going. So great job with that. Thank you for sharing. All right, Katrina, how about for you?
So the email was a big thorn in my side, but I have found it incredibly liberating. I mean, incredibly liberating to just let go and put stuff in folders, get it off. I also took an old email that I don't really use anymore, and I put it on vacation or just so it has an auto response. It just says, I don't use this email anymore. Please come to, and I gave my other email. So that has been lovely. And I'm going to One Time the World. I hosted a huge tea party yesterday for like a tea tasting, actually, for something, 30 to 35 people. And I was helping the gal. I'm like, why don't you one time your grocery list, that you want, the hostess to bring? Why don't you one time this? And so I kept telling, finally she's like, what is this? So then I had to explain to her and gave you credit for what you've started. So I thought
Katrina,
that was fabulous.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And send her to onetimeyourbusiness.com. That actually takes them to the professional group. So you guys are One Time Your Business Realtor, because I do something special just for you guys. But every Monday I actually have all professional, so any industry. And it's complimentary, just like you. I do have a success program they can purchase, so I monetize from it. But it's a complimentary 8 weeks, just
Fantastic.
like I do for you guys. Yes.
Thank
you guys get the success program for free because you're my real estate agents, but professionals have to pay for it. So that is awesome, Katrina. And yes, I love how you said about your email. I don't use it anymore. So what you did is you gave a very specific call to action. I'm transitioning, but I'm not looking at this. I don't use it. So re-email me, and you can make that a one and done. Love that, Katrina. So thank you for sharing. All right. Last but not least, Tammy, go ahead.
Okay. I am so glad I'm taking this course so early in my career because I just really, the email thing is just going to be a thorn in my side, obviously. And the fact that I can actually do templates as I start having to do all of this repeated emails down the line. So I've actually been kind of looking and seeing what emails are coming in and kind of making little notes to myself. So I'm kind of watching for repetitive emails and as things start to come in, trying to think of how I can make things easier for myself and just kind of keeping that in mind, like how to make templates in the future. So, yeah.
Love it, Tammy. Thank you so much. And I want to change the conversation you're having with yourself. It's going to be a thorn in my side. It's not going to be a thorn in your side because you were starting out right and you have the tips and you're going to engage in those tips to manage your email at a high efficiency level. So you're going to release the emotional stress that majority of everybody else around you has attached to their inbox. So it's not going to be a thorn in your side. Thank you so much for that, Tammy. All right, let's go ahead and get right into our topic, introduction. I love the opportunity and solution session, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing and creating that space for masterminding and collaboration with your peers. I really appreciate it. Okay, objections and mistake. I will share today how you can have a higher closing ratio by eliminating versus overcoming objections. Also, I'm going to get you excited about mistakes. Okay, I know. It really is, it sucks when a mistake happens, especially in our industry. But the reality is there is no possible way that you can accept anything else except embrace your failures, because they will always be there. You will never be perfect. Nothing will ever go perfect. And I believe in the balance of the universe, which means that you can't have success without problems. You can't have opportunities without challenges. It's just the way life goes. And if you had to eat steak every single day, even though it was your favorite food, it would not be your favorite food for that long. How could we really appreciate what love felt like if we didn't know what it felt like to hate? And the stronger we feel on hate, the more ability that we have to truly love to the core of what love really is. So that's why I believe that the universe is balanced, is because it's a loving place and that's the way it's supposed to be. So mistakes are a part of business. Being able to rejoice in your failures means that you actually have an opportunity to be excited about when you recognize the mistake and you recognize how you can make it better next time. So I want you to embrace your mistakes this week. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so first let's get into objections. So I'm going to talk about eliminating versus overcoming. I always hear people talk about overcoming objections. I don't believe in overcoming objections at all, except in one case, and I'm going to share that to you a little bit later. I believe in eliminate them. Why not eliminate them altogether? Eliminate and conquer. By eliminating the objections, addressing them up front instead of overcoming objections, meaning you're waiting for them to come up, you will eliminate any doubt that your clients may have of working with you, and guaranteed you will have a higher closing ratio. Eliminating equals confidence. Overcoming equals lack of confidence. Your objections that your clients have are not one-off. Here's the exciting news. They're the same ones that every single one of your clients might be thinking about, or guaranteed they are thinking about. I'm going to talk about that in a second. They're the same objections that multiple clients have, so why not one-time them? Learn the common objections, address them up front so they don't have to come up. Now, here's actually really cool, because I do this exact same program as I just stated to Katrina for business professionals. Theirs is a little bit more generic, but here's what I have found out. I actually get better and better at everything that I do in my business and my life because I'm helping and sharing this program with other industries, because it's even concreting more of what one-timing means and how powerful it is. It is a plug-and-play philosophy for any industry. There are 7 objections. They are the exact same objections, no matter what industry you're in. We're going to talk about those today, which makes it totally manageable for you to eliminate them altogether. Now, yes, there's a one-off objection, so we really don't care about coming up with a system or a process for one-off. One-off means that most likely it's not going to happen again, so why waste any time with it? You're focused on majority of everything else, which are not one-offs. Objections are doubts. Now, this is really important part of understanding why it's critically important to eliminate versus overcoming. Majority of your peers, majority of anybody in any business professional, will wait for them to come up, hoping that they don't. Now, again, some trainers and coaches out there will teach you how to master overcoming. So waiting for them to come up, hoping and praying that they don't come up. Why? Because then you don't have to address them. That is a very dangerous way to deal with objections, because here's the reason why, and you will see that when I show you the 7 common objections that are in any industry. Is just because they're not being voiced does not mean that your clients are not thinking about them. And again, when I show you the 7, you will see, of course they are. So how dangerous is that? Because then you don't get an opportunity to address them at all. But they're actually still there, and it compounds because they never get addressed. Objections do determine your closing ratio. So how you address your objections will determine the chance that somebody's going to work with you, which determines your closing ratio. Do you just want to overcome the doubt your client may have want to work with you, or do you want to eliminate any doubt right up front? Eliminating will take your closing ratio to a whole new level. So here's a great news. If you are overcoming objections right now, or you're waiting to address them, hoping they're not coming up, instantly this program has compounded the cost to it. Okay, no cost except for your time, but it is compounded to the time that you're putting into this program just with this. If you're used to overcoming and not the strategy of eliminating, I'm going to increase your closing ratio in this 1 week. So here's the formula. The why, the risk, and the benefit. There is a plug and play formula to everything that we talk about during the burn, which makes it really easy to be able to tackle and manage it. So the why behind the objection. So the why that your clients have, why are they buying a home? Or why are they selling a home? And the why for the industry behind. Why does this exist? Or how does that why come into play? I'm going to give you an example here. The risk if they don't. What does it mean to them if they don't? And the benefit. Now, I always like to start with the risk and end with the benefit. I like to start with the bad news and end with the warm and fuzzy news. The benefit if they do, connect to their why to the risk and the benefit. So this is why it's so important when we get into presentation. I'm going to give you the 6 components to a successful presentation in order so that you can master in one time your presentation with your buyer and with your seller. This is going to come back and play here. The risk and the why is critically important because you can use their own specific why to plug it in. So the process and the formula, you've one-timed it, but you're going to make it unique to that individual buyer and seller to really bring them in. Now, also it's important to address the logic. Back up with facts, articles, and numbers. With logic, people think. Now, because everything's balanced, we also have to address the creativity. Back up with stories. Emotion, people act. Now, the left side of the brain deals with tasks and logic, and the right side of the brain deals with creativity and your emotional side. So you want to make sure that you catch both of those. So what kind of objection might you have with the seller in this market? Or in any market, doesn't matter if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. Your biggest objection with a seller is price, pricing their home. So here's how that might look. I know, Mr. Seller, you and your family need us to sell and have this closed no later than a certain date. That is your client's why in this example. They have to move at a certain time. Now, that may not be another seller's why, but I'm giving you one example, and this is why it's so important to find out what their why is, because you're going to use the why. I understand $700,000 is the price that you want for your home, but the market price is closer to $650,000. That's the market why. So you've got their personal why and the market why. If we list your home at a higher than market price, you will not attract buyers, or at least to the level that I know you can. And your home will take longer to sell, ultimately ending up with less profit to you. That is the risk. If we list your home at market price, we're going to attract buyers. Most likely, we're going to get higher than the price than if we did not list it correctly. We're going to have multiple offers come in, talk about that story. Get the story built in. So attach the story into the logic here. Logic is the numbers. Obviously, you've got stats and numbers that you can show of what's happening in the market. This is how you get top dollar for your home. For me to do my job and to help you accomplish your goal, we need to list your home around this price range. And whatever you guys can do, we're going to talk about next week when we get into scripting about leading from an advice standpoint versus an ask. But in some situations, you have to ask because they need to make a decision. And price, I know you have to ask what they want to do. You can't tell them what to do, but you can be very firm in your leading from advice on what they need to do to be successful with the process. Now, if you have mastered with objection, the why, risk, and the benefit, and they do not take your advice, you must let them go. This is an example of when I said learn to when to say no. We talked about that in week 2. This is an example of that. You've got to let them go. You can't be successful. And it's really easy. I can't do my job. I can't do my job unless you let me be the expert that I am and let you know how to be successful. I might not be, or I might not. I am not the right agent for you. Let them go and move on. Because I guarantee you, when you take that lead and that stance, majority of your clients are going to do exactly what you know they need to do to be successful. And you don't have to tell them. They're just going to follow based on how you're communicating a message. We're going to talk about that next week when we get into scripting. It's going to be a powerful week next week. So common objections, here they are. Every industry. It's not just real estate, not just mortgage, but every single industry out there. And you will know when you see them. Price. Your seller. We just talked about a price objection for a seller. Your buyer. The price that they have to offer on a home. Of course, that's an objection as well. And it doesn't matter what market we're in, a buyer is always going to have a price objection. In this market, they're paying too much, they feel. In a market to where it's a buyer's market, they want to negotiate way much down lower. That doesn't make any sense. So no matter what, there's a price objection no matter what market that we're in. Your commission would fall under the price as well. So commission meaning that somebody's trying to talk to you about a discounted brokerage, which of course you know they're out there. So this is an example. Can you see how devastating this can be to your closing ratio when you just wait and see if somebody mentions Redfin? You're just going to wait and see, hoping and praying that they don't. That is devastating because you can answer that question. You know, of course, every single buyer and seller knows that a discounted shop exists. And if you are not addressing it up front, when they hear the ads, when they talk to somebody else at work, whatever the situation may be, you have completely majorly lowered your closing ratio. You need to tackle this up front. By addressing it, you eliminate it altogether and it never exists. Now, some clients, they want a discounted brokerage. They want a discounted shop. By addressing it up front, you can know who you're going to say no to. If you don't believe in cutting your commissions, then you can one-time that, get them out of the process, and go and move to the next one. Next common objection, or the next objection that exists in every single industry every single time, is timing. So the objection, are we currently in a boom? Is the market going to crash? Or make an adjustment? Eliminate, show why that we're not in a boom. So let them know exactly why you do not believe that we are. Fear of change, the objection, things are okay just the way they are. So use their why of why they want to buy a home. Eliminate, create the sense of urgency. Eliminate, create the sense of urgency for them. Again, attach their why. Show them the cost of waiting versus purchasing now. Those of you that don't work with me, I've got an awesome report. I can easily generate this. Come to me offline and we can talk in more detail about that. Outside influence. Objection, family and friends giving advice on things they know nothing about. Eliminate, lead with your expertise. What about the media? Media sells. That's why majority of the information on the media is negative, because that's what sells and brings in the profit. So you need to nail this right away by leading with your expert advice and backing it up with the logic, which are the numbers and the stats and resources that you trust. The next is trust. You must build trust at your first conversation, or trust will not exist. First impression is critically important when it comes to the objection of trust. They don't see the need. Show them what they're going to be missing out in. Again, this is a fear of change, and timing could fall in there as well. And then current market. Set the sense of urgency, share the benefit of acting now, the risk if they don't, and the why if they do. Always start with the risk and with the why. Your buyer and seller presentation should have all of these in it. This is what a presentation is, if you think about it. A presentation with your buyer and seller is created and designed around objections. Commonly asked questions, those are objections. They're just a nicer way of having an objection. And guaranteed you will have a higher closing ratio when you one time and eliminate objections. Then they just never exist. Now I'm going to talk about cold calling. Here's the only time I said there's one time that you cannot eliminate and you must conquer and overcome. It's when you pick up the phone and cold call, because there is no eliminating in cold calling. Now, if you guys, if you haven't seen these movies, they're great movies to watch when it comes to how to master overcoming objections. But I will tell you, they are not ethical. These are not ethical cold calling, but you will get an idea of how to master, because in these movies they did. First is Wall Street, back from came out in 2013, and Boiler Room came out in 2003. Both great stories and great watch, but you actually will learn and see how you can master overcoming objections when it comes to cold calling. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this in is because I'm going to give you a challenge this week, and part of your coursework is going to be picking up the phone and cold calling. It's the hard road. You will not want to do it. And I'm going to highly encourage to press through, and it will not be the hard road anymore, and it will be your most favorite thing to do. I will tell you that Keelan, on his power hour just today, and he does it all the time, I do it as well. Whenever I have buffer times means I have a block of time. I have a block of time to meet with clients, and there's no client appointments. Or I have a block of time that I do meet and greets with real estate professionals, but nobody has booked that spot. So it's a buffer time for me. Or I have a time block time to look at my email, and my inbox is like totally clean, and there's nothing really, or it takes me 5 minutes to get in there and do my email. So I've got a buffer time. I always replace my buffer time with extra power hour. Why? Because I'm in sales, and I know by picking up the phone is what power hour is, by the way. Power hour is nothing but picking up the phone. All your other touch points are touch points. We're going to talk about that more when we get into week 7. But I use my power hour as my buffer time as power hour. Keelan just said today, he's just a day of power hour. He's just grinding on the phone. And so when you've done it enough, it becomes a habit, and it actually becomes exciting for you, because you know what the results are going to be. And I'm going to show you what this might look like. So I want to challenge you this week to call B2B. B2B is a professional. You are a professional, business professional, and I want to challenge you to call another business professional that can support your business. Now, in the real estate space, here's the great news. Majority of your peers do not do this. But if you look at the 1 percentile, the best of the best in your industry, every single one of them, guaranteed, has power partner relationships. They have B2B relationships, every single one of them. And some of your 20% that are doing 80% of the volume are tackling it as well. Not to the same level as a 1 percentile, which means majority of the real estate agents that you're going to see on a daily basis, they are not calling business professionals. Majority, they're calling consumers, which is great. Don't let go of your consumers. Consumer is icing on the cake. That's really what your consumers are, is icing on the cake. Your true one-timing your lead generation is going to get to a business professional. Here's the reason why. They are doing business today. They need you right now, today, and they can support you today. Let me use you as an example. You are my B2B. You're my biggest power partner. You're real estate professionals. You're doing business right now, today, correct? Or maybe tomorrow. You're generating and doing activities to generate business right now, today. You can support me today if I earn that opportunity to build a connection with you. I'm going to talk to you about how to connect on a high level when we get to week 7. And you need me. You need a mortgage professional that's going to provide a high level of service in order to do your job at a high level, correct? That's powerful. So who are your B2B? What about an estate planner? Now, they're doing multiple deals at one time, divorce attorneys, multiple. When they're working with one client, they're working with multiple transactions. How powerful is that? To connect with a divorce attorney that focuses on, divorce attorney, of course, they focus on divorce. What about senior home coordinators? You know that there's professionals out there that they actually coordinate to help people decide what homes they're going to go into. What about senior housing living? So those are just a few. That's what I want you to focus on now. In the spirit of one tasking, I want you to pick one professional, one category. My primary category is you as a real estate professional, but once I've mastered that, I am actually just now adding another one. So I'm adding in financial planners, which, by the way, I'm going to invite them to Power Hour Lunch and Learns. It'll give you an opportunity to connect with them. So financial planner, by the way, is another potential power partner. So I want to bring my power partners in for you to network with at Power Hour Lunch and Learn, so I can help for you to build these relationships as well. But pick one of them so that you can stay focused on the task at hand, whatever that is. And once you've mastered that category, meaning you're connecting and starting to do business, then you can go ahead and add in another one. Okay. This today is all about money making. I'm going to increase your closing ratio, and I'm going to get you with B2B, which is going to completely change your business. If I didn't have you guys and I had to just depend on my past clients that are going to do a deal maybe once every 5, 7, 10 years, you guys are doing business every day. Gosh darn it, Britta, I mean, just in the last few days, we've got all kinds of activity going on. Julie is a huge support of my business and do a lot of work with her. I got to deal with Hannah right now, and Hannah was a listing agent on one of my transactions, and I just stayed at a high level with her and built a relationship. So this is what your business can look like, is people that are doing business today, they need you today, they can support you today, and they need you today, and you're going to become friends with them. I mean, half of you are coming to my 50th birthday party. Hannah, I'm making personal phone calls for all of them, and I haven't personally called you yet, but you're on my list, so you're getting an invite. Sorry, I had to go off track there. That'll make more sense when we get into touch points. I don't do a mass email to invite to any of my events. I pick up the phone, and then I follow up with emails after that. So, all right. So, cold calling. Here's the formula for cold calling. There's a formula, again, for everything that we're going to talk about during the burn. Feel good. Make them feel good. Say something nice about them. It's not about you and why you're so great and what you can do. You don't want to mention anything about you. I've been in the industry for over 2 decades. I've been recognized from, Washington Realtors and all these great things I have on my bio. Nothing. I could be a brand new loan officer that has no idea what they're doing as far as it comes to cold calling, and it will never come into this phone call. We'll talk about that later. We're gonna bring this back in, by the way. I'm gonna leave you hanging a little bit. We're gonna make the calls today, but this week, when we get into week 6 and we talk about presentation, I'm gonna talk to you about how it's gonna all tie in. And then when we get to week 7, I'm gonna tie in the touch point plan that will completely bring it all together. So we're stepping into this. So make them feel good is the first part of the formula. Next is get to the point. Why are you calling? There's only one reason that you're calling. And here's the last part of the formula, close the deal. The only reason that you are calling is to land an appointment. So make them feel good, get to the point, and close. So here's what my script looked like. When I was starting to cold call, when I was new in the industry and I didn't know any real estate agents, I had to pick up the phone and cold call. And eventually you won't have to pick up the phone and cold call. I'm picking up the phone and cold calling. I get connections to people. I'm picking up the phone and cold calling financial planners, but I'm getting connections from other resources. I just want to get you guys used to this initial part because it was powerful for me. It'll get you over the phone issues that you have picking up the phone and trying to generate business. It's going to solve all of that. So I'm going to take you this hard road, and then it will get easier as you go along. So my script. I made a decision to align myself with the best in the industry, and that's why I'm calling you. I'm calling a real estate professional. Hey, Britta. Hey, Britta. I wouldn't say hey, Britta. Hi, Britta. This is Tina Mitchell with Gateway Mortgage. The reason I'm calling you is I made a decision to align myself with the best in the industry. And I know that you do a lot of business in our local market. I'd like to take 15 minutes. So that's the first part of the feel good. Here we're going to get to the point. I'd like to set up a time to meet with you for 15 minutes just to come by your office and shake your hand. Now we're going to wait for the objections to come up because this is where the objections are going to come up. So you're going to wait. Guaranteed, they are going to come up. You cannot eliminate them. You have to overcome them. I'm going to talk to you about that in just a second. We're going to come back to this. Now I'm going to get right to closing the deal and landing the appointment. So week 5, when we get into scripts, we're going to tie into this. Week 6, when we get into presentation, I told you about that. We're going to go deeper, and then touch points. We're going to close it up. So here are the objections. Guaranteed they're going to come. But here's so exciting about one-timing. There's no one-offs. It's the same objections that come up every single time. So how exciting is being in the spirit of one-timing and embracing my philosophy to one-time? Because it makes it really easy to manage. Here are the objections, and you know exactly what they are. I'm too busy. Well, you just need to come up with your script to be able to overcome it. And here's how it is. Of course you're busy. I know you do a lot of business. I'm not asking, or I'm only asking for, that's why I'm asking for 15 minutes. I just want to come by your office and shake your hand. There it is. Nothing more, very quick, very to the point. You'll notice my answers, my overcome are very specific and to the point. That's why I'm only asking to come by and shake your hand, just 15 minutes. I'm already working with somebody. I respect that, of course you are, but you've been in the industry for a while. I'm not asking for your business today. I'm just asking for an opportunity to meet you. Can you just send cards in the mail? Yes, I will. Oh, I'm giving you the answers here. I'm sorry. I was putting them down in the bullet points. Can you just send cards in the mail? Yes, I'll send cards as soon as I leave the office today, but I still want to schedule a time to just come by your office to get a chance to meet you face to face. And the last one, I'm not interested. Meet with me and I will be brief. I will not waste your time. Same response for me to overcome every single time. It just flows out when you are making the calls in that process. It doesn't feel good. Meet with me. I'm not going to waste your time. You're not going to regret it. That's not going to feel good the first time that you say it, but I'm going to show you how it's going to feel good. It's going to become fun. Your hard road is going to lead you to easy street because you know exactly the results that you're going to get. I guarantee you, if you're not calling B2B right now, you are not heading towards the 1 percentile. If you're struggling for lead generation, this is going to solve it for you. And it's going to build an excitement of what the opportunities are for you to take your business to the next level. Now, once you determine your closing ratio, this is when it becomes fun. 1 to 10 is good. When you're calling, if you can land an appointment 1 out of 10, that is awesome with cold calling. So once you know your ratio is 1 to 10, guess what? If you can force yourself to get to that, to be able to calculate your ratio, Now the game begins. You are in sales, which means you're competitive, or you don't belong in sales. You're an SC and the disc profile. We'll talk about that when we get into embracing your strengths in week 6. So that'll make sense. So if you're an A or an I, or a D or an I, a driver or an influence, you are meant to sell, which means that you are competitive and you like to play the game. You just may not like to play this game because you're not used to it yet, and you need to get through that hard road. I had to check my time there for just a second. So once you figure out what the game is, now it becomes fun because you're going to be racing. You're going to be excited to get to no's because you know you got to get 9 no's to get to the yes. And start making an X. You know, have a sheet of paper. Paper's good here. Just mark X. Okay, good, I got 1. Okay, good, I've got 2, 3, 4. You're getting really excited to get to 9 because you know now the yes is going to come and it becomes fun. So let's take a look at the money. Let me show you how B2B and cold calling will show you the money. So let's do 5 cold calls a day. I'm going to actually challenge you this week to do 3 hours because I have to help create a habit for you to get over the fear and over the fear and the rejection and all that negative stuff that comes up with cold calling. I want to step you out of that. And if I can get you to do 3 hours this week, that will give a time to start to create the habit to embrace your failures so that you can see the win here. So 5 cold calls, but I want to show you how it makes it after the 3 hours when you're doing this on a regular basis. Let's just say you're going to do 5. This is going to connect to my 5-25 plan when we get into week 7. Let's just say you do 5. That's 25 a week. 10 cold calls equals 1 appointment. That's a 1% conversion, which is awesome. 2 B2B, business to business appointments a week. That's 8 a month. Commission is 3%. Okay, let's say that you average a net after all the expenses of running your business, paying your office, everything else that you have to do. Let's say you net 1%. That's net take home. Average price $500,000. That's $5,000. Or average price is $1 million. That's $10,000. 1 closing a month, $5,000. So looking at these numbers, is it worth it for you to try something a little bit different than maybe what you've done before? And try something different than majority of everyone else around you is not doing. But remember, where your perspective comes from should be from the 1 percentile because that's where you want to take your business. All right, enough on objections. Let's go into mistakes. When a mistake happens, there is always something that you can do about it. There's a better way to do it. There's a lot of one-timing opportunities when you watch for mistakes. That's why mistakes are exciting because you can't avoid them. So you might as well embrace them. Most mistakes are not one-off, but instead they're the same mistakes that are happening multiple times with multiple clients. Again, how exciting is that they're just the same ones that are happening over and over again. So what mistakes do your buyers make? All of you that work with me, you know I have my 8 tips for a successful closing. I've one-timed this process, very powerful. I'm going to help you make this road. It's a hard road, but it's going to take you to Easy Street. But I want to actually get you to Easy Street a lot quicker. So I'm going to tell you how I had to learn the hard way. The worst thing you can do is actually spend time to go over the 8 tips for a successful closing or whatever that is for you. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15. Mine happens to be 8. You know what they do. You know what they are. Buying new cars, opening new credit, having funds come from an acceptable source, taking vacation in the middle of closing, not understanding when signing is going to take place. These are just a few of my 8 tips for a successful closing. I tried having a special meeting where I went over each individual 8 tip every time I had a client that was under contract. They didn't hear it. We all know you hear 10% give or take of what you actually hear, you absorb. So instead I had to one-time it because I was not getting the results that I wanted. So I'm going to skip forward you to the solution to one-time it. Here's what you want to do. Don't go over the 8 tips. Here's a script to use. Spend 30 seconds with them instead. I'm going to send the most important email you're going to receive from me there during the entire closing process. It's my 8 tips for a successful closing. If you follow these 8 tips, everything's going to run efficiently and on time. If you miss one of them, not only are we at risk of losing your earnest money, but we are also at risk of your financing falling through altogether. That's not going to happen because I'm sharing my 8 tips for successful closing so you know what to do and what not to do. We are going to have a successful transaction and I'm going to get you into your dream home. All I need from you is to read those 8 tips. Guess what? They not only read, but they read at a high sense of urgency. And how I know this is because sometimes within minutes or an hour, usually that exact same day, if there's any questions that they have, or if something that they had concerns about, they're replying and asking. It's really powerful. I went from mistakes happening to maybe getting a 10% improvement to almost a 90%. I very rarely have clients that ever make this so much that I have a $5,000 closing guarantee that if my clients make a mistake, I pay the seller $5,000. That's how well my 8 tips for a successful closing work. It's a plug and play and it will work for you as well. What mistakes do you make? Take a look at what mistakes you make so that you're in a position to be able to find a better way to do it. Continue doing things the same way, get the same results, right? We've always heard that. What mistakes do your peers make? Sometimes it's easier to observe what other people are doing and being able to see their fault than our own fault. Sometimes it's easier. And then you can take it back to yourself and ask yourself, well, do I have that nailed at a high level? What mistakes do your power partners make? Those of you who work with me know that I also have 8 tips for successful closing for a real estate professional. It just happens to be both of you, 8, client and my realtors. So again, there are mistakes that you make as a real estate professional that I need to one time because I only have control over what myself and my team can do, not control over what might happen on your side that's going to affect financing or what might happen on our client side that may affect financing. And again, with your power partner, same thing in how you're communicating your 8 tips for successful closing. All right. Remember what the majority are doing. They're just continuing to make them over and over. It's crazy when you take a look at how the industry functions. And it's crazy how much easier it would be. We talked about the emotional attachment that you have to your inbox. What about the emotional attachment that you have attached to a mistake? All the lost sleep, the disrupt in your family life, having to be on during your personal time because you're waiting for the phone to ring because you know there's a crisis that's going on. This all can be eliminated at a high level. Not all, because mistakes are going to be happening, but you can definitely swing that 80-20 rule into 80% of the time, if not more, things are going the way that they need to go through the process. They work harder, not smarter. Fix your mistakes and fix your business. This is the majority, what the majority do. They have a business model of chaos, not order. Change how you look at mistakes, view them as a positive, as an opportunity, not a negative. They're only negative when you do nothing about them. They're part of the rat race. Their business has them spinning on the hamster wheel. Only when you do nothing is where mistakes are going to continue to happen. They're constantly putting out fires. So watch for mistakes, learn from them, and act on them. Are you part of the majority or part of the minority? I guarantee you the 1 percentile, the best of the best in the industry, volume and family life. The best of the best in everything in life. They have figured out how to one-time the common mistakes that are happening. So Lo, I'd love to open up for our topic discussion and hear what takeaways and nuggets that you've had from today's topic introduction and objections and mistakes. So let's go ahead and start first with first in. Well, actually, I'm going to start with Tammy so I don't get lost. Tammy, you were second in today. Go ahead, Tammy, in a minute or less, please.
Well, cold calling terrifies me. Way outside my comfort zone. That was one of the things that when I started this business, I told Stephanie I will never do, partially because I don't like it when people call me. So, yeah, we'll see how this one goes.
Tammy, thank you so much for sharing that. Anything good in life, the better the results, the harder it is to get to the results because, again, of the balance. That's the way life is. So I didn't say because I forgot. I try to check my little bullet points. I put things in you do a presentation and you just talk about it. Here I got a bullet point and make my thoughts attached to a bullet point so I can keep you guys a little bit more engaged in the process by having a visual. So I did forget. there is an easier road, but I want to challenge you to take this hard road first, because it's gonna get you to actually want to pick up the phone, and it's going to be magical for you, Tammy. The easier is by eventually you're going to get warm introductions. You're going to call your clients and you're going to ask them, do they currently work with an estate planner? You're looking at building your to add a new one to your power partner team so that you have an estate planner to introduce to your current clients when they need one. You're going to get warm introductions. But the reason I don't want you to take the shortcut right now, because if you do that, you actually are not going to create a habit to make these calls. And just remember, I want you to look around at what the results are, what the majority are getting. And if you want their results, if you want to do the business that they're doing, if you want to live the life that they're living, then do what they're doing. If you want to live the life and do the business that the best of the best are doing, then do what they're doing. And they're picking up and they're getting connected B2B, business to business. So that's a benefit for everybody, Tammy, not just for you, because I know that this is hard and that's why the majority don't do it. But I'm here to challenge you because I want you to be the best that you can be for your business and your family. So thank you, Tammy, for sharing that takeaway. All right, Katrina, how about for you?
Okay, well, first off, if my dog barks, I'm so sorry. He's in my office and he's going crazy. So when you first started talking, I thought, oh, I can do this. And I'm jotting down a list of B2Bs that I can call. I'm like, oh, I'll call her. I'll call her. And now you just clarified. No, I'm right there with Tammy. Calling people I don't even know. Yes, that's a hard road. I know you want me to just say yes.
No, anything hard, you're not just going to say yes, because that's not natural, and it wouldn't be easy if you're like, oh yeah, nobody says just yes that's not doing it. They all put the block up and they don't want to do it. That's the reality. But the benefit from it and the reality of, so visualize this. If you had an estate planner, just one, they're doing business today, they can support you today, and if you had just one of you for me, or Britta for me, Hannah, Julie, Tammy, as she's building her. I know when Tammy gets her business, because she's new, when she gets her business up, she's going to be supporting my business. Look, everybody here on this meeting is bringing me business. So if you have just one of those, right, what is that going to do to your production? And here's the great thing. Once you establish that relationship, now you're friends. All of you are my friends. And so it is a magical way to be able to do business and to be able to predict and know where your business is coming from and what your business model is going to look like. So, all right. Katrina, thank you for sharing that. Julie, how about for you?
So I think for me, I'm actually going to give this a try. It's kind of funny about what you were saying about the warm introductions, because that's kind of where I was going in my head as well. But, for a long time, and I've never done anything about it, but I thought about starting my own, not BNI, but BNI type group, like a referral group. So this might be the push I need to actually do that. We'll see how that goes, but I'll give it a shot.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. And again, it's going to be short-lived once you go through the process as far as cold calling, because you will work into the warm. But I have to get you to start with cold, or the warm will never happen. So this is going to actually start creating that habit of picking up the phone at a high level. And that's why, because you're not going to have enough opportunity by the warm leads to get the opportunities that you can on the cold side. And it's also going to help to build that adrenaline, dealing with the adrenaline of fear. It's going to help you to use that to your benefit. We're going to talk about that when we graduate. So there's a very strategic reason behind everything that I've put into this course. And I've put so much thought into it because I want you guys to benefit at such a high level that I'm just so emotionally connected to each and every one of you. So I'm sorry that I'm getting a little emotional here because this means so much to me, and I just love you guys. And I want to be able to communicate at the highest level so that I can really make a difference in your business and in your life. So the why behind it is because I'm building up that to know how to use that adrenaline so that you can conquer your life. Britta and any of you that are going to the keynote that I'm doing for Spring Conference for Women's Council, I'm going to share my a mini version of my hour keynote in 30 minutes of Tragedy to Triumph, Living Your Dream Now. And this is just one example of dealing with the tragedy not tragedy, but the adrenaline that you don't want to do the same thing. We're just talking about business versus personal. And once you know how to use your fear to conquer, everything will change. So there's a big why behind why I'm taking you to the hard road and not letting you just do some warm calls, because it's not going to give you create the habit that I'm wanting for you to take out of this week. So thank you, Julie. All right. Hannah, go ahead, please.
Question and a comment. So door knocking is okay for the cold calling?
So let me answer. I'll answer your question first. Door knocking is if you're going to door knock to a business professional. If you're talking about door knocking for consumers, no. Consumers that is icing on the cake. That is gravy business. Anybody that sells real estate is getting direct consumers. Maybe not door knocking, but they're connecting at some level. And consumers is definitely getting that business is great, but that's a given. I want to get you the great business, which is one time a year lead generation through business professionals. So if you're going to door knock on a business professional, yes, Hannah.
Okay.
Door knocking for consumers does not count in this challenge. Okay, go ahead. What's your comment?
Yeah, so my comment is where you talk about making mistakes and expediting things so that you're only doing thing once. One of the things that I've learned, and this is directly related to how I met you, because the person who was on the other side of the transaction, I've done many with him. And the fact of the matter is, I now look for people who I know work at a high level and use that as a reason to encourage my client to do a transaction, because I know it's going to be wonderful in that whole process. And that, because I know, sometimes there are a lot of new agents in this industry and they don't know anything. They don't know their way around contracts. And, so I kind of find myself help doing their job. And that really just takes away from business that I could be earning. So that's just something that when you were talking, it just made me realize, okay, that's actually a kind of a one-timing. Is you have your kind of core group of top agents, and it's going to be great for your client, and everyone's going to win. So.
Yes, that is correct, Hannah. So I want you to remember that thought when it's going to be the hard road to pick up the phone and cold call, because you want a you for you. I have you for me. You want a you for you. Each of you want to have that business professional just like I do, because that is what's going to change everything in your lead generation. And again, I can't say how much, and that's why I emotionally, teared up here just a second. It's so stupid, but it's because you guys are my friends. And I hang out with Britta and Julie and Tammy and Katrina, Hannah. We haven't had an opportunity to hang out yet, but we'll build our friendship together as we're doing business here. So I care about you guys so much. And how great is that you wake up every day and you come to the office and you work with your friends? That's what a B2B relationship is going to be. Yes, you're getting connected at a high level with your clients, but you're not talking with them and engaging with them on a daily business. They're not doing business today, every single day. So you don't have that same, yes, you've got some that you invite to your house and you do things with, but I'm talking about every business professional that you work with. They're becoming a friend of yours. So Hannah, thank you for that takeaway. All right, Keelan.
Tina.
I know you guys. I know you do, and that's what's so powerful about. And I love you too, and you guys know that. That's what's so powerful about this week, because that's what a business-to-business relationship is going to do for you. Is you work with people that love you and they care about you. They care about your well-being and they care about your success. I know when I get a client and a closing for you guys feel as good for me as you do for you, that you were able to help. And so it's a beautiful thing. All right, Keelan, go ahead.
Well, as you know, I'm pretty comfortable with the cold calling. I don't know, I did it for 2 years with people that definitely didn't want to hear from me, internet leads and stuff like that. So I'll tell you, everybody's scared. It's for a lot of people, it's a mind-numbing fear, and I was scared. I knew I had to make 50 or 100 a day. So you just kind of get busy, and then it kind of goes away. There's a great book by Mel Robbins. It's a 5-second rule. I don't know if, I'm sure, Tina, you're all over it, but I use that a lot. So it's basically you act in 5 seconds. So you wrote down a list, and then as soon as you let your subconscious figure out that, oh God, I don't want to do this, you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then dial the phone and just jump and just do it. And, as you do it more, you get more comfortable. But that fear never goes away. It's just about managing it, I think, and getting comfortable with it. So.
And Keelan, what a great takeaway for you to share with your OTYB peers here, because Keelan's example, that's what he worked for an internet lead company, and he would get fired if he didn't make 50 to 100 calls a day. He was forced to do it. But here's the magic around what happened with Keelan. Keelan was calling consumers. Completely different. He is next doors to me. He's calling real estate professionals. He's moving to B2B. And yes, he has fear, because fear is always going to be there, but it's the fear and the adrenaline is getting him to move forward. And this is what I'm talking about. And he was scared. This is why he came to work with me, is because he doesn't want to do consumers. He wants to build relationships and build a business model that I've been talking about with you guys today. He's killing it. He's calling and going, and he literally went from consumer cold calling right into business professional cold calling without missing a beat. And he's never done it before. Why? Because he's created a habit to cold call. So it really was a plug and play for him, just making an adjustment to how he was going to be scripting and doing that message. So Keelan, what a great share for your peers today. Thank you so much. All right, Britta, how about for you? What was your takeaway today?
Yeah, cold calling for me is just something that it's never been a strength of mine. It's never been something I enjoy. And I realize, though, that I think it's because when I cold call, I think I feel like I need to talk about myself or sell myself. And I hate doing that. That doesn't come out naturally. So I thought it was really interesting when you kind of read your script on how you make that phone call. And I think it's going to be better knowing that, and maybe even going over some other scripting ideas. I guess we're going to get to scripting later on, but I would love to hear some other ideas too.
Perfect, Britta. Thank you so much for that. In the business of May of 1995, I hired my first coach in May of 1999, which I explained to you guys in week 1 when I talked to you about the one-timing exercise. I call it a one-timing exercise, but I named it that. But that's basically making calls and emails that were coming into the office, tracking them. But also this coach that would completely change my life and why we were here, and I'm teaching One Time Your Business because of that damn exercise. He also forced me to cold call. I had to do it, and I actually had to send him recordings. I mean, he was a hardcore coach. But May of 1999, then take us into 2001. By 2001, that's when I made the top 200 mortgage professionals in the entire country. That's when I made the top 50 in Wells Fargo, which in my region, nobody in the entire region in Wells Fargo had ever made the top 50 at Wells Fargo. That happened in 2001. I hired him in May of 1999. How did that happen? I became the 1 percentile because he forced me to do something I didn't want to do. So everything that I'm talking about, I've been through that, the process of everything. So Britta, the script is exactly the same every single time, that formula. And whether you say, I was intentionally targeting in strategic and who I was targeting, but even if you're not to know the level of business, just a warm and fuzzy. And the reason why say something nice is because think about the person that you're calling. They actually do not want your call, and yes, that is correct. They naturally, of course, will say no because they don't know who you are, and they're busy. They've got things going on. They already have somebody that they're working with, and you can't use the excuse that they're working with somebody, because guaranteed every relationship that I've built, they all have somebody they're working with. I met with Tammy, and Tammy immediately first, and this is nothing to you, Tammy, I just want to use you as an example. When I first sat down and met with Tammy, we went out and had some one-on-one connecting time. Very upfront that she knows a mortgage person that she knows very, very well. Not that she said she was going to work with them, but it was a communication, and I know somebody. And because that's naturally, when you don't know somebody and they haven't earned the opportunity to do business with, it's a protection mechanism. So automatically the brain is going to say, I need to put up a protection and say, stop. So that's why the warm and fuzzy is part of the formula, make them feel good, because it breaks that barrier down. Then you're getting to, the objection's going to come up, guaranteed it's going to, but you're ready to overcome those. And I forgot to say, you will never get more than maybe 2 objections. Sometimes just 1, and as soon as you overcome it, it's like, okay, and if you get to the next one, bless you, Britta, usually by then they're going to let you, they're going to land an appointment. or they're not, and that's the one that you're going to mark off to no to get to the yeses. So again, a powerful week. I wanted to share a little bit more here because we had time to, because we're short a couple of your peers, and also it's a really important thing. And I want to remind you again, the reason I'm encouraging at a high level of forcing, if this were a paid program, trust me, there'd be accountability and I would force you to do this. And I've already got your money, so you'd have to. That's what my coach did for me. Is because this is going to help create the habit that you need to do just what Keelan did. He was able to shift and turn right into what he was used to doing in a whole different area. And then you're going to be able to take Easy Street and warm leads. So cold, you're not going to be doing cold. I don't cold call anymore. I haven't cold called for years. I get connected with my real estate agents that connect me with somebody else. Everybody that's on the burn, I'm just calling a warm lead because they were connected from somebody else. But you have to take that hard road and create the habit to get used to picking up the phone. That's why you're doing this. So it's going to be short-lived in cold calling. Okay, come to me offline if you want to go into any more detail or just chat it out. Talk with me because it really, really is an important week for you guys. And it's easy for me to not communicate the whole message at the level I want to because of time. So I'd love to fill in the blanks with where each individually you might need. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up with our coursework. Track objections and eliminate versus overcoming them. Develop an OTYB objection one sheet. We're going to talk about this a little bit more when we get into presentation. One sheet is just keeping track of all of the different objections that come up. But again, they're going to all be related. You'll notice that they're going to be related in those 7 common ones somehow. They're just masked at different ones, but when you really look at them and you create a list, you'll see, oh, well, that's all about price. Oh, that one's about price. Oh, that one's about price. And you'll notice really there's 7 overall. Spend 3 hours cold calling. We've talked a lot about that. No explanation needed there. Watch for mistakes and find your solutions this week. Create how to be successful tips for your clients and any power partner that's part of the process. What are my 8 tips for a successful closing? It's included in your coursework, by the way. Share it with any online lender. If you're working with a lender that you don't have control over, send them the 8 tips. Send their client, send their buyer. You've got a loan officer that you're working with. You don't know who they are. You haven't built that relationship with them. That buyer, send them the 8 tips. Say, hey, I've got my 8 tips, and you can take my stuff off of it. Take my contact information off. It's not about promoting my business. It's about you being equipped to share something that I guarantee that lender is not sharing. Not at the level that you know that you need to do to one time that mistake from happening. Let them know, hey, I just got my successful tips for lending. So go back to your power partners and find out what you need to communicate with them this week so that you can prevent them from making mistakes that you know is a common thing that can happen during the process. Review your one sheet tips in multiple offers. We didn't talk about that today because there was not enough time, but it's included in your coursework. I reached out to the best of the best in the industry in your field to help me be able to come up with some how to win tips. All of my Real Living tribe that's online, you guys have Kiyoki, and I tell you, he's mastered it on multiple offers. So you've got a great resource there. And Hannah, I'm sure if you ever want to have a conversation with Kiyoki, it's the broker of my Real Living family. Stephanie is his wife. That's part of our group, just not here today. He is amazing. At multiple offers. Review one sheet for buyer and seller objections. I've got some of those in the coursework as well. All right, next week's topic introduction, all about scripts, videos, and reviews. The OTYB motto, take control of your communication or your client will control the conversation. Build trust and loyalty from your first conversation. I will tell you, as we're waiting to get into next week, scripts are not to sound scripted. Instead, they're to be prepared up front in how you want to deliver a message to ensure the best possible outcome. Scripts are not to use somebody else's words. They're to prepare your own words so you can deliver a confident message. The formula for a scripted message is confident, powerful, and to the point. And you will learn next week that everything that you say in your personal and your business life, personal life will be your aha moment. The same conversations you're having with your friends, same stories, same jokes that you're telling, they are scripted. But they've been scripted over time. We're going to take a shortcut. And we're going to intentionally script up front so you don't have to wait until you've delivered a message 50 to 100 times before it naturally becomes a scripted message. That's what next week is all about. And then videos and reviews are going to be great as well. I'd love to ask for your support this week. Think about me. RSVP per Power Hour Lunch and Learn. I know, Julie, you've RSVP'd. Norma Jean's not here today. She's RSVP'd. I love the Power Hour Lunch and Learns for you guys to get a chance to actually meet face-to-face. So please RSVP. The invite has gone out from that. OTYB 8-week burn introduction. Just introduce me to one agent this week. When Victoria sends out the coursework, there is the link. Really easy, just forward it and CC me on the email and I'll reach out and I'll take all the week. Just say you're in this amazing course and they got to take it and it's complimentary, and I'll take it from there. Because I need your help to actually book for the next week, the next burn, because I only allow people into this course that have been introduced to me by someone else that's currently in the course. The reason why is because of when I didn't do that, there was a lot of fallout because they'd come in for week 1 and they find out that it's a mandatory to be here and something else would come up. Not that they didn't know that there'd be value, but they really didn't know for sure what was going to be happening. But when they're introduced from somebody like you that's gone through the course, it's a whole nother level of introduction. And I want to keep this to people that come in with that in the process. Please keep me in mind for this week for your buyers. Remember, again, I've put my 30-day closing to a 25-day. So I think the 25-day, it looks a lot better. Yes, I can close loans in 21 days, but my guarantee is for 25 days. We can close loans in 2 weeks if everything goes perfect. I got a great team over here. And then my financing, $5,000 financing guarantee, it really helps out. All-in construction ones, if you didn't know, I do all-in-one construction loans. So you got to buy or to build a house. We got a great product, and we do the full rehabs, not limited to the 35K or whatever the limited one is. I forget because I don't have to do the limited. So if there's something unique that comes up there. Okay, here is the OTYB motivation as we wrap up our time together. Change is looking for a better way to get the results that you want. That's in spirit of mistakes, and it's in spirit of objections. So I'd love to play a video. Oh my gosh. I love that video. So when someone tells you you can't, that can be your biggest motivator to show them that you can. So use that. And I believe people tell us that we can't do something not because they don't care about us or they're trying to be mean, but actually because they do care about us. They care about us so much that they're afraid of us getting hurt. So they tell you that you can't do it because it's an easier. If you have a spouse and you're trying to reach for the stars, what is that jeopardizing or what might happen if you do fail? If you have a parent and a parent is saying, well, you know, they're not saying it because that they're trying to be mean, but they're trying to protect you. So stay with things, and they will actually be your biggest motivator to show them that you can. When somebody tells you no, keep asking. You will get a yes. It's an opportunity. People talk about a numbers game. You hear people say it's a numbers game. I believe it's an opportunity game. The more people you call or the more times you ask, the more yeses that you will actually receive. If you look at the people that do the most business, they're getting the most no's. They're losing the most, not meaning losing a deal once it's under contract, meaning losing that they're having people that are not when a no is not just a no, verbalizing a no. A no is when you are going after and trying to build a relationship with somebody. You're trying to get business from somebody and they're not giving you business. A no is when somebody goes with somebody else and they didn't even get a chance to say no. Those are all no's. The people that do the biggest business have the biggest no's because it is an opportunity game. Stephanie, which is not online, so I can't give her credit for this, but she came up with a term that I love, so I made it my own. The task is to ask. Guaranteed it's going to be no if you didn't. Thomas Edison, he had to fail 10,000 times before he got it right. And he credits all of those mistakes to his success. He said if it weren't for those 10,000 mistakes, he would have never been able to figure out the solution to creating the light bulb. So remember this week as you are going through your cold calling. Remember it this week as mistakes happen and you're embracing it. When you embrace it, it actually means that you're going to feel it a little bit stronger. So embrace these moments because it is going to take you to the success that you were looking for. And I appreciate you guys so much being here. Please reach out to me if there's anything that I can do for you this week, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye, guys.